Hello.
Hey, Fiction, how you doing, man?
Yo. Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. So let's just do the intro really quick, and then we'll hop right in. So if you could
Okay.
give like your tag, where you're from, how long you've been playing, and the goals for the game.
Yeah, so drmclovens is my tag. I've been playing since I think January, like early mid January.
Okay. So about like
Um,
2.5, 3 months.
yeah, and then the goals is actually really ambitious.
Okay.
So I want to eventually try and get top 100.
Okay.
So extremely ambitious. Reason being is because
Not
I'll
that
keep this short.
ridiculous.
Okay.
But continue.
Uh, I'll keep it short, but
No, go for
literally, I
it.
was doing that whole thing where you think about like, if you get on your deathbed and you think back, like, what's something you would regret? I don't have very many things, but the one thing that I really thought of that I think I would fully regret is not actually like really trying to get good in something like a video game. I've
Mm-hmm.
always been like just ever so slightly above average and never really put any real effort
Okay.
into anything, and I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of always had fun and been fine with that. And I'm like, you know what? There's something that like this is something I've got to do. I've got to really try seriously on a video game I really like, and I've been watching Melee for like 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing it, and this was my pick.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
Loving it so far.
Awesome.
Also beating my head into a wall.
Yeah, it'll just take it just takes a while no matter what you do. Like it just takes a while to internalize all the little things.
Definitely.
All
Um,
right. So what are we working on today?
So I think it's going to be a little bit different than I've watched some. I've watched quite a few of your VODs. Really
Mm-hmm.
cool stuff you're doing. I really appreciate them. But I think this is going to be a little different. So
Totally
uh,
fine.
I kind of have like Fox and Sheik in the back of my head as like matchups I want to work on. But I'm not so much worried about matchups as I am like I am looking for, I guess, kind of a beginner's blueprint. Like um, I have a few different questions as far as like uh, how to pick what I should be practicing because there's a
Mm-hmm.
million things. Like my tech skills still 3 months in, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not that great for 3 months in. I feel like so there's a lot of stuff for me to work on, and it's kind of how should I be deciding what to practice, how to efficiently practice. Uh, these sorts of things. Like I have a little doc I wrote up, a Google Doc I wrote up for myself here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess first I was hoping maybe we could like you could maybe skim watch um, a game or two
Okay.
and play me maybe just to
Yeah.
kind of get an idea
Yeah, we
of
can
where
do
I
like
am.
a connection test and just make sure, but I'm down to take a look.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
You're West Coast, aren't you? Let me look.
yeah.
You're pretty
So
far away.
sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not. Like almost like regardless of distance, like so you can just connect to people and play three buffers sometimes, and it's like it's more about like the just connection quality, and sometimes it's whack and sometimes it's not. So okay, let me see. Let me screen share for you then. I just grabbed the first slippy you sent me. Hopefully that's
Yeah,
okay.
I had Slippy files that I had set. I swear I set them aside, and I was like, these are really good. Like one of them was a fox that like never
Hmm.
committed. One of my big problems is like when a fox runs up but doesn't actually commit to you.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
I have a real problem with like, okay, so how do I like I'll be doing this like backing off across the stage lasering thing, and
Mm-hmm.
then I find myself in the corner, and
Right.
you know what I mean. So like
Yeah.
foxes that do that to me, I have a hard time against, and then Sheik in general. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just Sheik in general, honestly. Like I did just recently get some pretty good tips, like every time that you're getting chain grabbed, like whenever you get grabbed, you should slightly be holding in that sort of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea about that, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Okay, yeah. Alright, so let me see. Let's see. What's the first thing we should do? Okay, let me just start off watching a little bit.
Okay.
And just kind of try to get a general feel, and then we'll sort of try to, like, find our direction as we go. Like, exactly, like, which way we want to go.
Are you proud of my name in the game, by the way? Le Lesur?
Oh, that's funny. Nice. It took me a second. I didn't understand until you said it. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Now your opponent's name, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Better than I looked after 3 months.
Oh, I get hit by that all the time. She dashing through my laser.
Yeah, no, that's really common. Like, it just happens a lot to everybody. It's just a lot of stuff with Falco in particular. Like, he's just the character where unless you do it right, it's all over.
Right.
And it's like literally like the difference between like you winning this interaction and losing it is that like you fast fell slightly late on this laser.
Right.
So you fast fell right there instead of at the peak. And so the laser comes out here, but if it came out literally where the gun is on this frame, you know, one frame later, it would have just hit her in the head, and then she would have been right in front of you in laser stun.
Half the time, just real quick, because this is so common for me,
Yeah, no.
half the time I kind of gave up on trying to get that correct, like, slight fade back, fast fall laser to catch her, and I just like do the full retreating laser, like the where you like go across the screen and turn around laser. So I started doing that just to avoid the situation altogether. But the more I use that, the more I find that I'm like just constantly resetting neutral, and I'm not like getting much off of it. I don't know.
Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about basic lasers really quick before I go further. And then I'll go back to this video. So, basically, there's the most basic lasers, and the way you kind of want to practice your lasers are... So, let me grab, let's say, Fox. Okay, so let's just put Fox here, something like that. Okay, so the most important laser is this one. You just do this really fast, and you try to get the low one. Like, the lower you can get these, the better. And it's sort of like the same rhythm over and over. And you just kind of want to sit here doing this for like an extended period. And then like, let's say you're in a game and you're like this. Have you seen my video on the double laser in place that I made? Like 15 minutes long?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you're about this range, then it's like safe. Or if you're further. So this is just like the most basic pattern that's really good. The next one is being able to backflip laser. So you're saying that you end up doing like this one, right?
Yeah, I'll do, yeah.
So, do you know that characters can like backwards short hop, right?
Yep. That was the question I sent you a day ago or so. I was asking you, which, real quick, this will be funny because I'm in an argument with a friend over this. I say that the backflip laser is good. You actually already answered this. But for video evidence purposes, the backflip laser is good because of like the mix-up it has with backflip bear, right?
Yeah, with the late back there, exactly. So basically, the backflip it just prevents you from getting this because you just do this. So all it is like dash this way, and then you press jump, and then during jump you tap to the right, like before you get off the ground, and then he'll just like auto backflip, and then you can just let go of back and laser. So you don't need to like hold back, and then like you don't need to do like this one where you drift. See how I'm like kind of drifting like super far back towards Fox? You don't need to do that. If you just kind of flick it, he does this one where it's kind of like in place. And so you just do this, and then it looks like you're doing like a standing like dash back standing laser, because you see how I'm like basically in place. Right. And so that's how you do this short retreating laser, is with a backflip. And this is like probably the most important laser outside of like this one.
Okay. Oh, I was on the right track here. I'm happy to hear.
Yeah, so we
I'm
got...
learning this. I need to implement it.
So there's this one, and then there's the backflip, which is really, really important. Then the other one, which you already are doing, is this one, like retreating laser, and being able to make it so you don't do like the no fast fall, where like you're like that's bad, whereas like this is good.
Right.
So you just want the laser to come out quickly. The thing with I wanted to bring up with the Fox players not doing anything. A really easy way to kind of think of it is like, well, first of all, you know it's kind of good if they're coming in on you, right? Like that's what it seems like what you're comfortable with. So like, basically, if I'm here, I can like zone Fox forever. If I'm here and I land a laser at this distance, that's actually really strong, right? Because I can like this, like basically like laser grab and laser down air are like almost true combos, where like if I do laser down air here and Fox does take laser dash back, he'll get hit by the down air. And if I do this and he shields, he'll get hit by the grab right there. Or, you know, stuff like that. So like I have like a lot of pressure that I can follow up, or I can even do like that, like laser and then like shine or something like that. So if I land a laser from this range, another really common option you'll see Mango do is he'll land a laser from this range and then he'll do this. And what that does is the Fox will like up tilt. Like you hit this laser and then you dash in, and then the Fox thinks you're gonna dash in, so they up tilt, and then you just cover it like that, something like that. So this range where you land like a laser here is really like where you're gonna get your pressure. And so the tough part is that like if you're here, you know, how do you end up here without getting like run up smash by Fox, something like that. And so a big key is that you might not have thought about this since you've only been playing for like 3 months, but basically if I do laser, retreating laser, the second laser like comes out further away, so the rhythm is slower than if I do two in place.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like the second one is like delayed because I'm shooting it from further away, right? And so the opposite is true with approaching laser, where if I'm doing laser approaching laser, the gap between those two lasers is less than if I do these. So it's actually like a stronger pressure to have laser approaching laser than double laser in place. And so there's sort of this like pattern that Falco can do where like, let's say you're right here and you're kind of defending, and you want to get from like here to here where you can do your little like bait out the up tilt / pressure thing, right? But crossing this little gap is the difficult part. And so what you can do is you can actually do something like dash back to here and then do backflip laser and then go boom, and now I'm in this range. So it's sort of like you can like compress and like elongate the space in between them by doing, and this is sort of the laser pattern that you eventually get used to, is you do like this retreating laser and then approaching laser, and so this is like the next basic pattern that you want to get good at. Is this
I think that's the next like laser.
And so the nice thing about this is that like if Fox is just dashing around the stage and I'm doing like, if I do this and Fox did like take laser full hop in and I do boom boom, then it's like, oh, like I just easy punish the full hop. Or if he like super commits or something like that, you know, I kind of have him. But then once I'm here, and he's already like, boom, so it's like laser, big gap, little gap, you know? It's because I'm like approaching with it. And so basically that just allows you to like, you know, Fox or Falcon or whatever, or Marth is dash dancing around like this the whole game. And Falco can't really do that. But this is sort of like dash dancing with lasers, especially like when you start adding in your dash dances, then you get this type of pattern, which, you know, feels a lot more like Mango-esque / like actually does something.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's the laser pattern I need to work on, because I think that would help a lot with Fox full hop drill too, because I get messed up by Fox full hop drill.
Yeah, a lot of times the way you can beat full hop drill is with up tilt. Because the up tilt will a lot of times like trade or beat the drill, and like if it trades with the drill, who cares? Because you popped him up and you just got hit with like a hit of drill or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's also a lot of spots. So basically, think of it like this: if you're like, do it, full hop right now, and the fox does the full hop, and you're like, gotcha, then like, that's fine, try to punish it. But if fox just randomly full hops and he's kind of over you or whatever, just roll out of the way. like,
Yeah.
like, basically what I tell people is like 9 out of 10 fox full hops, I just let them get away with it for free, but I make sure to roll away so I'm not threatened. And then the 10th one, they're like, well, I mean, I can just do whatever full hop I want for free because they never punish it. And then I punish that one. Like, it's way more important to just make sure that the fox full hops do not actually, like, hurt you than to punish fox for doing them. But eventually you can get a punish.
Yeah, I try to fight him and get hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm. This is actually some really good general advice for Falco, is that most characters want to fall on you, like, they want to just drop onto your head. And it's because Falco is a character who relies a lot on jumping for lasers and aerials, and his best aerial is like his down air and his nair, which work the best if he's falling onto you, not like rising. So Falco is kind of not as good of like a rising character, and so characters like to fall on you a lot. And so, like, probably the biggest rule of thumb for Falco against, like, all characters is just, like, don't let them fall on you. Like, if they're gonna fall on you, just get out of the way. You either want to be kind of, like, lasering them on equal ground or, like, falling onto them. And there are situations where Falco can, like, you know, shine out a shield and stuff if somebody's falling on him. But it's just, like, a general rule of thumb is, like, notice that everyone and their brother is trying to, like, drop onto you. Everybody wants to, like, falling aerial onto Falco. And most of the time you can just roll out of the way. Or retreating laser. Okay, so let's see. Back to the video. We'll just kind of skip through it. Unless you want to, like, switch. Like, let me know if you want to, like, change to something else at any point. I'm just going to, like, watch through it pretty quick.
Okay.
Also, do you short hop wave dash or full hop wave dash? Basically,
I
yeah.
actually heard you say that not too long ago. I've been trying to make sure that I short hop wave dash. I don't remember where I heard that. It's
Okay,
one of
yeah.
your recent lessons, I think.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's not like the most urgent thing in the world. It's just that, like, when you're learning Falco and you miss a wave dash and you get this massive full hop, it, like, kind of ruins the plan. Like, you just end up flailing out of the full hop rather than, like, playing the game. So I feel like it helped me a lot to switch to short hop wave dash with him. Just, like, small thing to mention. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're definitely at a point in the game that's super obvious. Like, you kind of have these, like, ideas, but you can't really execute them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely, like, the biggest problem right now. Like, I would say that, like, you kind of don't really even need to think about decision making for a little bit.
Okay.
Like,
It gets me angry at my hands.
yeah, like, don't be angry at your hands, because, you know, it just takes time to get it. Like, you just literally need, like, reps. Like, you just need, like, laser.
I think a lot of that is what I mainly want to, like, kind of focus on too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously I know it's like, oh, well, you got to put the reps in, and I'm fine with that, and I'll do that. But it's also like, so I'll spend an hour, like the last couple days I've spent like most of my hour practice, I'm getting like trying to get like an hour minimum, trying
Mm-hmm.
to. I'll be like, so like the last 3 days I focused on like shield drop, turn around laser, through like side plat, right? Because there's like a lot of times where I feel like in
Shield
neutral that
drop
would help me,
turnaround laser.
and I'm just getting to where like I can do it
Dude,
once every 5, 6 times.
you're a
Like I get
psychopath.
one.
Dude, shield drop turnaround lasers, like, you realize that, like, nobody can do that consistently, right? Like, almost no one.
No, I
Like,
didn't. I feel like I've watched you do it against like Leffen and IBW in
yeah,
tournament, and I'm like,
no,
oh, that's so
it's like
good.
there's like me and like one
Okay,
other guy
right,
probably.
fair,
Like when I
okay.
was picking up Falco, every top Falco player was like, "Hey, if you learn shield drop turnaround laser, like that's the big thing that like nobody's really done that much yet." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, and that wasn't that long ago. No, you're like that's like 40 levels past where you're what you should be practicing.
And I see. I think that's what I want to walk away from most with this lesson is like, what should I be focusing on?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just put like 4 hours into shield drop turnaround laser, and as you're
Hey,
saying, like
and
that's
it's not
probably
it's not
not where you should
necessarily
be.
like a waste because you practiced shield dropping and acting out of it, which is closer to like what you should be practicing right now.
Right, and it did help me. Funny enough, now I can shield drop like bear cancel stay on the platform like
Mm-hmm.
a few times in every couple matches. Of course, it's not none of it's consistent yet, and that's the big thing.
Yeah, and that's what I
But
was gonna go into is that like being able to like for instance like let's see what's a good example like let's say a CPU is on like infinite shield, right, like in a training mode thing, and you do
mhm,
like short hop, late down air, shine, something like that. That
right,
like hitting that. Okay, so here's the thing is that like what people the problem with a lot of the way that people learn tech skill in this game is that they want to like push their capabilities of like what they've done almost like skateboarding or something where it's like I'm gonna practice this new trick like all day or whatever, and it's way less about that than it is like consistency on the basics. So like being able to full hop waveland off of a side platform 20 times in a row is like infinitely more important than like some complex tech skill.
hmm
And so like the issue that I notice for a lot of like newer players is they're like, "Oh, I can get this thing like 4 or 5 out of 10 times. So I basically have it down and I should move on." And it's really like you want to be able to get the general rule for like most people from like not even that I came up with, it's just usually people try to do things like 10 times in a row. And it's like if you can't do something 10 times in a row, most and to be honest, if you give if like most people who've been playing for like less than a couple years will struggle to even do like 10 wave dashes in a row every time. Like I mean if you had me do it, I'd probably miss some of the time. So
right,
it's like practicing like that consistency and like, well, I wave dash and I don't mess up my wave dashes. And it's like I aerial and I shine on their shield and I don't mess up the shine on the shield. Or like a one that was like a big one for me at the beginning of Falco was like if I combo somebody where like they're here and I'm here and I have to like short hop down air and then fast fall and then L cancel here and then shine because I
yeah,
was
yeah.
kind
I
of used.
miss that almost every time.
Yeah, and it's like just set up a save state and just do it until you can do it 10 times in a row. And then it's amazing how well you'll be able to do it in the game.
Right.
So like just think of like the simplest things you can. Like set a CPU to shield grab and just do late back air shine, you know? Like
hmm
uh do like practice doing another a big one for Falco I think that's really good to practice is like the JC shine that's off the ground. I think that like that's like a fun one to practice too, where you just do like you jump and you shine right off the ground and then you instant wave land with no jump squat. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking
instant
about?
wave land. Yeah, I think so. I think.
Okay, it's yeah, it's just literally like let me just show you really quick. And it might
Do
be
you
even
use Uncle
beneficial.
Punch?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to ask you too. Like, how do you actually set up? Because I think my weakest part of my game right now is probably combos. And
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you like, how do you set up those safe states to where like you have the CPU doing or being where you want?
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty simple. Is that like okay? So you go. So you have like you have Uncle Punch on like training mode stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like okay. So first thing, recording, save position. Um, And then what I like to do also, it's kind of an extra thing. I go to general, turn frame advance on, and then I do right D-pad. And because basically right D-pad, like, basically there's this weird thing with Uncle Punch where there's like save state and load state. And then there's like this old save state load system from like the old days with left D-pad, right D-pad.
That's what I use, left D-pad.
And like sometimes they get like desynced in weird ways where like if you are in like so if I have something like this where I say the position and then I like record my position and I do this or something like that and then I do right D-pad in the middle of this and then I left D-pad, it like is set up here. But then if I do restore position, I'm actually here. So it's like there's two separate save states, and that's just like a bug that'll happen to you all the time, and just like don't worry about it. It happens to all of us constantly.
Okay.
So just don't get like freaked out and like, why are there two separate save states? It ruined my save state recording. It's like, yeah, it happens to all of us.
Right.
It's just accept it that it'll happen.
If you're wanting to like practice Fox, like random example, if you're wanting to practice Fox coming in like full hop drilling, like is there a way to take over the...
Yeah, so you go down here to CPU mode. So first of all, so that's a lot one. So CPU mode, all you have to do is go CPU mode, and you go to record, okay? And then now I'm Fox. And so you can just, so you're just like, okay, I'm Fox, and I'll do like left D-pad to reset it. You see this frame counter here at the bottom?
Uh-huh.
So you left D-pad, and that'll reset it, and then I go left D-pad, and I'll do something like this. And then you pause, and you just go playback. And now, Fox will do this. And every time I press left D-pad, like, Fox will just do this. And then, so now you go back to here, and you do record on you. And now, if I play them both back, I'm not pressing anything, and I can just play the state back. And then, so if I want to, I can go here and turn on frame advance again. And I like to use Z, because that's, like, the old way to do it. And then you can look at it frame by frame and see all these interactions and stuff like that. And that's like literally it. You can just record you here, and you record them here. And there's these slot systems. I can just go into it really quick. This is basically, so far, that's all you need. Like, you can just set up everything with just this. Because it's just literally like, you just like record what they're going to do, and then you do your response, you know? These are kind of like, basically, like, I could do something like I record Fox doing full hop fast fall drill, like this. So let me just let me put it closer. So I save the state, and then I'm just gonna do this to make my life easier. And then, okay, so full hop fast fall drill shine, and then all I have to do is here CPU record slot 2, and this just makes a second recording, and then I would do full hop drill no fast fall. Like that. And so then what you can do there is you go to playback, and then you do random slot right here. And so now what'll happen is when you go back, Fox will do a random state out of those that you picked. See how he's like switching it up?
Yeah.
And so then all you have to do is, okay, now I'm recording me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so I can practice against either of these states every time I switch it, he'll do a different one.
That makes sense. Okay, that's cool.
And that's like literally like the whole system. There's like a couple little other caveats that don't matter that much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. What was I talking about before that?
That's a good question. Shoot.
I think I was just talking about like the basic tech skill stuff. So yes. Like I would do something where you do like let's see. So you can go to like CPU options and then have them do shield, and then like when I hit their shield, they'll just grab. And so just practice doing like this, where you hit their shield with the aerial, and then you shine. Shield with the aerial, shine. Shield with the aerial, shine, and make sure like okay. Literally 10 times in a row, 2, 3, and like the spacing sometimes will get messed up. Don't really worry about it. But like you just want to be able to be like, oh, I can do this every time. I don't mess up. I don't miss my fast fall. I don't miss my L cancel. It is literally like second nature. And then do it with nair. And then do it with back air. And you're just getting used to like, okay. And the other thing is important to remember is when you're doing these fast fall aerials, it's like... so you're in the air, right? and then there's actually a big buffer to fast fall at the top. So what you do is you wait until you're at the peak right here. You press A or something like that, and you fast fall here before the hitbox comes out. And so what'll happen is the hitbox will come out here. So the hitbox came out like way after I actually... Here, let's look at this. So I'm in the air, right? And then I'll do like A, and then I immediately press down, so I'm fast falling, and then it comes out when I'm already mid fast fall. Because if you do this other one where you do like this, and then you do like A, and then he comes out here, and then I fast fall, like it's just gonna hit too high on the shields. You saw how many frames there were like after the hitbox came out before I landed?
Yeah.
So it's like if I do this, it's like, wow, the hitbox is really bad. But if I do like this, where I press A and then I drop, that hitbox hits way lower. So that's an important point when practicing these late aerials. But basically, it's just like practice, boom, 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 boom. And then you can practice something like, let me see. Oh, so this is the JC Shine thing that I wanted to show you. Is that basically that's like... Right. If Falco does the grounded JC Shine, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you shine on frame 6, then, you know, he is aerial, technically, for like a couple frames. If you've watched anything that Magi does, she talks about this. But, like, basically, it's like the grounded-looking one, you know, where you go like that. Where you get your jump squat when you jump out of it. Mm. And then there's this aerial one where you're just basically doing this. Except you waveland down out of it. And so you end up with this like really versatile shine. Where I
think I do that on shield pressure sometimes actually.
Okay, good. Yeah.
To.
So you definitely let's see. You definitely want to wow, the shield turned off. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, you definitely want to practice these and just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, and then do it out of a dash. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this is like another thing that I tell people to do is, and this goes kind of hand in hand with like the 10 in a row sequence, is that you want to just like 10 in a row of the same thing is. If you think about it, it's just like a sequence of 10 actions, which are the same actions over and over. But you can do stuff like, and it's especially good on maybe like Battlefield or something, but I always tell people try to do like kind of like a routine. No, routine is the bad word. Do like a sequence. So for instance, let's say I'm here, and I'll say the state, and I'm saying, okay, I want to do full hop, double jump, waveland off, and then I'll do double jump, waveland off of this one. So I'll do this, and then I'll do land with this, shield drop back down air, and then wave shine back, and then dash JC Shine. So that would be like the sequence. And so you'd be like, okay, so boom, let's see. So it's like boom, 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 and then you're like, oh wow, I missed. And so what this does, where I'm missing these wavelands, is this like points out a weakness in my movement. But if all I was doing was like, huh? Like, if you're just doing it over and over again, whenever you miss, your brain just goes, whatever, just do it again. And you kind of, like, edit out all of the misses. So you don't really realize how often you're missing when you're just, like, if you're grinding wave dashes, right? And you're like, oops, I missed. You just, whatever, just keep grinding them, right? Oops, I missed, whatever, just keep grinding them, just keep grinding. And you're like, yeah, my wave dashes are, like, fire. And it's like, they're, like, right. But when you have, like, this sequence to follow, like that or whatever, then, like, when you do the sequence again, then you can kind of like see, like, was I able to actually, like, do I have a consistency? This is something Eggs said a really long time ago in like 2008 or something, which was that like complex tech skill done by pros is just a bunch of little basic tech skill stringed together really fast. And so like you need to like work on the consistency of each little piece of tech skill, and putting the sequences together sort of shows you like, was I confident enough to string this together? And like, let's say you're not super confident in like your ledge dashes or something. Well, like, what if you have some sequence where you're like, okay, edge cancel, double jump, edge cancel, and then like, I don't know, side B or something like that. You have this big long sequence where at the end of it, you're supposed to ledge dash, you know? Then like missing the ledge dash kind of it takes on a little bit more significance than if you're just sitting here doing this over and over. You know, it's closer to like a real match where you have to like string things together, and then it's like, oh, and at the end of all of those things, don't mess up the one ledge dash you have to do. That type of thing.
That makes a lot of sense, because like I found my wave dashes got a lot better when I stopped like just wave dashing across the screen, and I started doing like I would, so like shine, wave dash out to the right, dash back, wave dash left, and then I'd switch up like which direction I'm dashing out of my wave dash.
Mm-hmm.
And I found like that was really difficult for me at first. And once I started being able to just dash out of my wave dashes got a lot better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely, because you get confident like slotting things into like the sequences. Another thing that is really good, this is just like sort of more specific, is that like practicing like these is really good. Like just literally like practicing the wave dashes across the stage, and then you have to do the variations. So it's like forward to the right, you know, forward to the left. Wow, I suck. Forward to the left, and then you do backwards to the right, where you have to do these, and then backwards to the left. I'm so bad. This is what happens when you play too much Sheik. And then you do.
It's encouraging to see that, actually.
Huh?
I said it's encouraging to see that, actually.
Yeah, no, see, it's hard.
For me.
It's hard. No, it's like I'm gonna mess up a lot of this stuff too. It's just kind of how it is. Then you do turn around to the right, and then you do turn around to the left, and then you do stuff like forward dash, forward like running shines, forward running shine, and then you do like turn around running shine, turn around running shine, turn around running shine, turn around running shine. And then you do this similar process on the platform. Shine, wave dash off. Shine, wave dash off. And then shine backwards, wave dash off. Shine backwards, wave dash off. Out of a dash jump is like a sort of different... Oh, I'm so bad. See, the game's hard.
Yeah, that's
and
really
then
hard.
and then you do like turn around shine. Turn around shine. And you don't really think too much of these at the time, but it's basically like you want to give your brain like a really like well-rounded picture of how to move your character, so that like it kind of knows how to allocate, like, oh, it's not just getting to the platform, because like you ask anybody, like, I can get to the platform, and it's like, yeah, but can you go here, shine, stall, and then wave land off late, and it's like, and then downer immediately, and then drift back out of the downer, like half the day I'm doing stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you have to wave land, so it's like stall here, and then stall here, wave dash, and then like freaking wave land back into a shine or something. Like when I like fast fall, wave land back, shine, something. It's hard for me to do it because I don't do a lot of solo practice. So like when I'm in a match, it just kind of activates. But I have like my tech skill is not that good, like especially right now from like lack of practice. But that's sort of like the general idea with the practice. You just want to kind of like get things like fleshed out and like make sure you focus on being able to like first of all do things like in a bunch of reps in a row of the one thing, and then be able to like integrate it into like a sequence. I think practicing like the lasers are good. Oh, another really important one is to practice is like this one. Like this is really important. And then also these are super important. People always neglect these. Short hop off laser. This will super give you like a sort of better perception of like, because you need to be able to shoot low lasers from here, right? And I haven't even gotten to the high lasers. So really quick, let me talk about that. So I've just been talking about all these laser patterns with like a movement attached, right? For all of these lasers, there's just one more type of laser. So like I know there's like 50,000 laser heights, and like you might have heard me in like advanced lessons telling people like, because it's eventually it gets pretty specific, where like I always tell people to shoot Fox right on the tip of his little nose right here. So when I shoot my lasers, they literally hit Fox on the tip of the nose. Because that's like the best spot to hit Fox. Not every time, you know, but that's where I'm aiming for. But at the beginning level, you mostly just want to focus between high laser, low laser. So the low laser is jump, and then you do laser fastfall, like immediately. And then with the high one, you shoot the laser before, like, so how do I just, like, the low laser is like jump, laser down, like jump, laser down, jump, laser down. Like it's this very like, you feel like you're kind of like pulling down with the laser as the laser is coming out. And then the fast fall, or the high laser is you fast fall after the laser comes out. So with this, like, the laser has, let me see, that's a good way to describe it. So like 2, 3, 4, 5. So like I'm up here, while the laser is coming out, like the laser hasn't come out yet, I'm already fast falling. You see that?
Right.
And then, well, whatever, it didn't make it out. So, but I'm fast falling while the laser animation is going. But with the high laser, you do this laser, and now I fast fall. So, like, immediately after the laser comes out is when you fast fall. And so it creates this sort of, like, laser that will always end up high because you're fast falling after, right after the laser comes out. And you can just practice it by making sure it goes, like, over Fox's head, essentially. And you kind of want to be able to get, like, these really high ones. These are really useful against, like, Captain Falcon. So just make sure you do, like, I think Ginger did the math,
because
and it's like...
Because of his nair, right?
Huh?
Because of his nair?
Yeah, like, it just, like, it catches Falcon out of his, like, short hop options. His nair will, like, go over these mid-height lasers, but the high ones like this are really good. And these are also really good against, like, DK and stuff. You just shoot them, like, over their head, and then if people try to power shield, then they get caught. And they're good against Mark, too. Like, these are good against every character. These are, like, what you want to use if people are, like, let's say you're playing against Sheik or Marth or something, and they're, like, and they come down like this, then you would just, like, boom, boom, and you just, like, nair in, because it hits them high. Really good against Puff, too, because it hits them... Like, basically, it's just, like, the other half of the lasers. And so all of these laser patterns that you learn, where it's, like, boom, 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 it's, like, boom, 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 boom. And then you can do like another like a really sort of standard one to practice is you do like laser approaching high laser, because this is like it catches people who try to do like take laser dash in power shield grab, you know, because you do laser and then it shoots one above their head. So like and it'll also do this thing where like check this out where like where if I do my hands are messing up. Let's see. So, something like that. And they, I guess I didn't do it fast enough. Yeah, like that. Is like essentially when you do like laser, like low laser approaching high laser, a lot of times you can jump over the low laser. And so it'll just like create a situation where you get this little jump over. It's extra easy to jump over lasers while you're in your laser animation, by the way. Like, his legs, like, kind of split in half, and the laser will go, like, in between them.
Yeah.
So...
I get that jump over the power shielded laser, like, option a decent amount. And then... and this is like a theme of a lot of my problem in Melee right now, getting into combos. I have a question to ask you before I get too far into this, and then I kind of do want to go into this topic.
Sounds perfect.
So it's like...
I was kind of like a natural stopping point with like the laser thing anyway.
I get to where like, so I jump over the power shielded laser, and I shoot out that second laser, and then I'm like, now what? You know, like, and then I feel like I have a lot of now what moments in Melee that stops me from being able to actually start a combo. Like, I feel like there's a combo switch in your head that needs to be flipped where it's like, I've won neutral, now it's time to combo, and that switch like hardly flips for me. And so I want to get to that, but before I do, real quick, because this pertains to what we were just talking about, I did want to ask this question, like, and so in my head for deciding like what to practice, I kind of have it in 3 categories, and I want to hear your thoughts on this and see if there's like a 4th category I missed. But it's like A, whatever is easiest to learn first, B, whatever gives me the most results first, and if so, if that's the right choice, then how would I decide that, and C, should I be trying to choose things that will give me the most long-term results versus just giving me the most results, i.e. basic like tech skill fundamentals that will build on itself in the future, and then how do I identify those if that's the point? Or D, something else that I haven't really thought of. Did that make any sense? So personally, I focus like on A and C, which is whatever is easiest to learn first, and attempting in my limited knowledge to choose things that'll give me the most long-term results.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way to look at it. What else were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
No, I was still kind of finishing thinking about what I was saying. What were you? Just finish what you're saying, and then I'll like, give a
Um,
response.
yeah, basically I focus on A and C, and I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of left B on the back burner, being whatever just gives me the most results. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know why, but it just doesn't seem like the one to focus on. But maybe
Okay.
it is,
So
and then
basically,
maybe there's something I'm missing.
there's things that like are really bad, um, that like when they happen, and then there's things that happen a lot. And those are like the two factors that basically like contribute to whether you would want to practice something or not. So sometimes, so like basically the order is like something that's really, really bad when it happens, and it also happens really often, is like the first thing on the list to fix.
So
The
like
net,
missing my L cancel when I try to start shield pressuring. Some or
yeah, 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 something like, and like
have
you
the
miss your
idea
L
that would
cancel,
be really bad because then you just get shined by Fox and
or like, let me think. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely like a good one. Or something like, you miss your wave dash all the time, and if you just miss your wave dash with a short hop wave dash, maybe you get this or something. You get a jump, so it's not that big of a deal.
Mhm.
But let's say you miss it with the full hop wave dash, and you get this, and then you're like, and you just try to attack, and then they just grab you, and that happens like 5 times a game. Then you're like, okay, like I'm fixing this,
Mhm.
like. So you can sort of think of it as like you want to get your all of your basic fundamentals. That is like the thing. You want to get that for sure. Uh, and I always just tell people just focus on whatever is currently the weakest. So you get your like list of things that are happening a lot and really often, and then you're just sort of like, okay, like what is like the biggest issue? What is like the weakest thing I'm like the thing I'm weakest at right now? Because a lot of times that'll like it all sort of works together because a lot of times that'll give you the biggest results in the short term too to just fix your biggest like weaknesses. So
Makes sense.
it's not as big of a trade off as I think you're thinking of it. Not necessarily that you're thinking of it as, but like there's just not a big trade off there. There is actually like a pretty straightforward way to go through it in terms of like what's going wrong. I think that like to be honest, you might be at like a level because you're still pretty new where like there's so many big things happening that are wrong all the time
Yeah.
that it's probably like extra difficult to like parse through that. And
Right.
so I usually tell people just hardcore focus at this point on character control. Like when you sit down and you're thinking about the game, you should not be thinking about like you can be thinking about like how do I deal with like Fox full hop and stuff, but that is not like the way you are going to improve the quickest because like it's a lot easier to deal with Fox full hop when you have a bunch of like tech skill that you can use to like build tools. Like you're like, oh, every time he does this full hop, I just wave dash out a shield, dash back, dash in, high laser. It's like if you don't
Mhm.
have those tech skills built in, if you think about how to beat Fox full hop, you're gonna come up with like irrelevant solutions because you don't have like the fundamental tech skill built up to actually create like good solutions to problems.
That makes sense. And see, before I was trying to like the way I was deciding was doing that. Like, okay, that situation that you just said to beat Fox full hop, it's like okay, that would work. Or I see this person now, I'm gonna, and that's how I would decide what I practice on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it's not the worst method. I just think that it's like
right.
you're probably at a like I basically think that like doing that method will work really great in like 5 months or something, 6 months.
Okay.
But like you're definitely at like a point where and this is just like a thing. This is always like the biggest thing for Fox players. Falco, it's a little bit less relevant for Falco, and it's harder to tell. But for Fox, it's super obvious. Like basically, you should be able to like, for instance, stand right here and just do a dash forward jump down air, and be able to decide whether you hit the front of Fox or the back of Fox.
Hmm.
And like this versus this. And most people don't like really focus on that for a while because they're kind of just like, throw my drill kind of in your direction. And
Yeah.
I think that just ends up there's so many players that I like work with and like it's just kind of not a factor in their gameplay, like to aim their down air correctly. And so like they have trouble solving all these higher level situations because they're like, well, I drilled, and it's like, well, yeah, but you have to actually like aim exactly where you want with every aerial. And so it's like it's way more important to practice dash dancing and landing on either side of Fox here than it is to practice like, oh, I'm gonna practice, you know, how to deal with these options that he actually has, or oh, how do I kill Fox at high percent? It's like, nah, we're not at that point yet. Like you'll get there, but you're still at a point where it's like, you need to make sure you hit your L cancels. You need to make sure you hit your wave dashes. You need to make sure like you can double jump from edge to like the platforms. Another big one I have people practice is, especially when they're new, is for drift. You practice edge canceling on platforms. So you practice like, can I edge cancel this? Can I edge cancel like if I'm here? Can I edge cancel this and there? And it sort of trains you to like get good at like fast falling and figuring out like your character's exact drift and like what they can actually edge cancel or not.
Yeah.
And that just sort of really helps from my experience with like learning the basics of like movement. But basically that's just literally it, is you just have to like you know, you can't run until you walk type of deal. So it's like the basic tech skill. Yeah, the shield drop, like the fact that you were practicing shield drop turnaround laser is like proof that this community does not have good resources for beginners yet. Like someday I'll make them, but like for now it's just like, ugh. Like it's unfortunate that basically you have to like figure it all out on your own at that level. There should be somebody around. I guess there's me now, but like should be easier. I feel like for people.
I did find someone who's definitely helped me a lot in like the Falco Discord. Like the Discord's pretty cool.
Nice.
People tend to be willing to help out in there, and you annoy them a bunch, you know. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted. Was hoping for is like, I think maybe after this lesson you'll have a video that helps beginner Falcos too, you know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I think it'll be a good one for sure.
So I think we got a lot of movement stuff in. I have one more question about like training basic movement stuff. This one, I just want you to review. This might sound kind of silly, but I want you to review a exercise that I came up with.
Okay.
See what your thoughts are on real quick.
Does not sound silly.
There might be, this might be out there already, but if it is, I promise I thought it up myself.
Yeah, dude, you're good.
Let's see. I'm gonna share my screen here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Why is it?
All right, I will stop streaming for just a second so it doesn't get like cluttered.
Tell me.
Okay, one moment.
I'm not going to be very good at this yet, but I feel like it goes into what you were talking about with the drifts. Are you able to see on Discord yet?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so it's something you can build off of. Pretty much, you stand here where like Fox is, like dash forward, and then instead of, because I had a big problem with getting this. Oh my gosh, getting this where you're like I'm just launching myself. So the whole idea is like land right here in the Poke Center. Right in the center of the Pokeball, which I'm not doing. Landing in the center of it, wave dash back, and then this, basically this, and then putting Fox in here and shield as well. Because I had a real problem of just full launching myself, but then from here I think it like.
Yeah, how are you doing? How are you doing your short nairs there? Like, what button inputs are you pressing?
Do you want me to turn on the thing?
Yeah, sure.
Info. No, it's general.
Okay, so you want to know an easier way to do it than letting the stick return to neutral is you just tilt it down. Like you just you just do because all it cares about is the X value. So like you just tilt it down right as you're like in the middle of your jump squat. So it's like dash, jump, and then like roll to down before you leave the ground.
Like that? Is that?
No. Yeah.
Oh my
So like basically just do forward. So just don't worry about the nair yet. Just do dash forward and then quarter circle to down. Just literally don't even jump.
Oh, don't jump?
Yeah, just dash forward and then just like basically do running crouch. Yeah, and just like repeat that. Yeah, and so what you're gonna do is so now just basically before the crouch comes out, like you're just gonna press down before the crouch comes out, and then just jump, and it'll give you like the neutral forward jump.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So this is the same thing as letting go of the stick, because all it cares about is the X value. So it's just that like instead of having to let it go, you can just slide it down, and what you can actually do is you can, depending on like, so like basically full forward is the full jump forward. And then full down is the full neutral jump. And then anywhere in between is like a partial jump. So if you did forward and you rolled it down to like the 45 and jumped, you'll do like a half forward full momentum jump.
I think I understand what you're saying. It's like
Yeah, I can show you on mine.
like that, but I'm getting down there.
Here, let me just show you on mine.
Okay.
I think you kind of get it, but like let me just show you. I think it'll clear it up.
Okay. I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Okay. And everybody does this differently, but I personally feel like this way makes the most sense to me by like a lot. And typically people agree when I show them. Okay, so where's the input display, right? So what I'm doing is...
You gotta share your screen again.
Oh, I forgot. Turned it off. My bee.
No problem.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that basically if I do dash forward and I jump, you see how it's like the full momentum out of the dash? This is full momentum. And I'm just holding forward. And then if I do this and I press down, I get the neutral jump. So this is like dash, and then I press down like before the crouch comes out, and I just do this jump.
Oh, that's the no momentum jump at all.
Yeah, so this is just straight down. I'm just pressing straight down.
Right, okay.
And then what you can do...
how do you get that like half momentum?
So the half momentum is that all I have to do is go forward, and see how I'm running slower at the 45? Yeah? That versus like this. So like... There's actually like a point where, look how slow I can run.
Yeah.
And so what you're essentially doing is you're taking advantage of that in the middle of it. So watch, this is like a 45 forward. So it's like forward and then 45 jump. And what that does is like that's a little bit forward, but it's not this one. So like the difference is like this. So that's like, see where I am in relation to the fox? That's the full jump. Versus the 45 jump, it is like that. So here's the 45, and then oops.
Dude, I did not know that. That's amazing.
But it's the same. The thing, it's like it's the same thing as like tilting. It's the same as tilting because all it cares about is the x-axis. You're just cheating using down, and it's also nice because a lot of times if you do like dash in, like if I do something like dash in here and then I hold down right here and I jump. I'm now holding down during jump squat. And so, like, if Fox tries to hit me, I'm actually already ASDIing down here.
Oh, that was another question. Okay. DI, SDI, ASDI, ASDI down and away, ASDI, like, can you give me a rundown of these things? Because I feel like I'm just sitting there nodding my head and smiling every time someone talks about that stuff.
So
like, I have no idea what they're saying.
So there's trajectory DI. Do you know how trajectory DI works?
Yeah, that's basically like I get hit, I hold out, like on the gray stick, I hold out, and I'll go out further, right?
Okay, yeah. So let me just...
the idea?
Yeah, let me give you the old MS Paint. Alright, so essentially what you do is, I think it's 18 degrees, but basically, like, so... You have like a knockback vector. Okay, let's say it sends it. Actually, I think the easier way is to do the 45. So we have like a 45-degree angle, right? And this is the direction that their hitbox is sending you. So this is like a lot of moves in the game. They're not like, I think they're like barely off of 45 or something. But basically, it's like essentially a 45-degree angle. Okay.
Right.
and this is like most moves in the game. This is like falco nair and back air and chic back air and chic nair. Like all these moves are 45-degree angles essentially. And so what you do is the furthest you can DI this way is at a 90-degree angle from this, either this way or this way. And essentially what this does is this bends your trajectory DI some amount in these directions. So like you'll end up going this direction and this direction and this direction rather than straight, because it like has this like angle change here.
Right. So can we give a move name? Can you leave that up if you don't mind?
Okay.
So let's say that's Sheik's Fair sends in that vector, right?
So Sheik's Fair actually sends you directly sideways.
Okay. So give just so that I can.
Yeah.
I need to like
go for it.
Put it in context. So can you give me a Fox's neutral air? Does it send in that way? I just need a move that sends in this vector you're talking about in the example.
Okay, so you're just saying like just start it fresh? Is that what you're saying? Like this?
No. So
in the game or
in this picture that you drew on the left?
Yes.
What character's hit stun would work? How you in this example?
What characters? What?
Hit stun would, or not hit stun, but DI. I'm trying to contextualize it in a sentence, I guess, to make sure I understand. Let me just get to this. My question is, these arrows you drew on the left and the like top left and bottom right, you're saying you can DI in those directions, so
it's
that's
also
where you
not
would want to put your
diagram, but yeah.
That's where you would want to put your stick at?
So to basically get the maximum just say it one more time. I'll get it this time for sure.
I'm terrible at explaining.
No, you're good. You're good. It's not your fault at all. I didn't draw this perfectly either. Like I don't know why I drew it like this, but it's pretty similar to like what it should be.
So let's just pretend. So let's take away what Sheik's Fair actually does. Let's just pretend Sheik's Fair sends you in this direction, like you drew the picture, right?
Okay.
So that I can talk about it. So
let's just talk about Sheik's Nair. It's easier because.
Okay, Sheik's Nair.
Yeah.
So Sheik hits you with Nair.
Yes.
It's going to this middle arrow.
Yeah, it's going to send you at 45. It'll be this one, yeah. This one.
Okay. And then the arrows you drew going up and down to the left and right. So
yeah, so this is your best DI. This is like the direction
that's the outcome of the game.
This is the outcome if you held this direction
with your stick.
Yes.
So that was my question. That those arrows on the left and right are like what you're actually doing.
Yeah. So this is like the actual inputs that you're pressing. Yeah.
And then the other is like what's happening in game. Okay.
Yeah, and these are like the results of the DI. And so like if you wanted to do Sheik forward air or whatever, I don't even know if it'll let me do this because it's paint. Yeah, it's not going to let me because it doesn't go sideways. But essentially, like, this diagram is just flipped where if Sheik's forward air sends you directly to the side and you want to get, for instance, like, this DI angle, like, you want to go as high as you can, then you would want to hold your stick directly up.
Okay.
So you just want to hold perpendicular, and if you wanted to go like down as far as possible, you would hold directly down. And so it's all about just like whatever is perpendicular to the knockback angle gives you the maximum DI.
One of my questions was DI, so this is perfect.
And it only has to do with like how perpendicular it is. So like if I have this one and it's going this way, and I do like this control stick angle, like if I do this is like my control stick angle, okay? This is the knockback vector, and then this is my control stick. This would be the exact same DI as like this, because it's the exact same amount of like perpendicular. Like this angle. So like you see, so like basically, so this is like the knockback. This is knockback. Okay.
Okay.
And then this is control stick angle.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is that like if you on this knockback, these two control stick angles are identical DI-wise. Because they are the same amount towards the perpendicular vector this way. Like they're the same like angle difference like towards this way and like towards this way. So it's like it's That's bending wild. It's like the same amount perpendicular. So
yeah, that's wild. Okay.
Yeah. So most of the time this isn't relevant, but like basically you're gonna end up in a spot where you're like, what happens if I do like this other DI? And that's essentially what happens. Like all that matters is like how like perpendicular it is to the original knockback vector.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Another question for DI, like Peach and Sheik down smash, like Peach down smash. I know I keep holding down. It's not to move. It's terrible. It's disgusting. How should I be DIing Peach down smash? And then could you like give that as like the final example in this?
Okay.
Tie it all together in my head.
Peach down smash is too weird, and you shouldn't worry about it for now. Just don't hold down.
Okay. Can I hold up?
Yeah. So the best thing you probably do is if Peach is here and you're here, and Peach is gonna do her like down smash like this. Mm-hmm. You want to DI like up and this way usually.
Okay, up and like past them.
But this is just my experience. It's the real answer is you want to like SDI up once and stuff. It really depends on like percent. It's
okay, and SDI is just smash DI.
Yeah. Okay. So let me
right?
let me describe the ASDI SDI thing.
Okay.
And there's people who can describe this better than me. I'm not. I'm doing my best.
No problem. I just need some kind of
yeah. So essentially, during hit lag, if you go from like neutral to a smash input, so if you go from like all the way from here to the edge of your stick, you will get one SDI input in this direction. Like if you tap a direction, you get the SDI in that direction. And all it does is it literally like takes your character's position and it just like and it just moves them over. That's it.
Right.
It's very direct to the exact direction of the stick. And so that's why, if somebody's doing like an up air and the hitbox is like first hit up air is here and then the second hit up air is here, and then the player like SDIs hard this way and then they end up here after the first hit, like the second up air hit's not going to hit them. And that's how people like get out of Fox up air and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been messing with that actually. Fox up air.
So ASDI. So ASDI is like automatic smash DI. All it is that on the frame after your hit lag, on the very frame post hit lag, you will get like, so okay, ignore the C stick for now, okay? If I am just holding to the right on my control stick and somebody hits me, the frame after hit lag ends, I get like a half SDI input. So my character would move like this much without even tapping it, just by holding it. And that's all it is that whichever direction you're holding, the frame after hit lag ends, so basically after all of the possible smash DI inputs, whatever direction you're holding, you will get like a partial smash DI input in that direction. And so
that makes sense.
The reason why ASDI down is so effective is essentially that like here's the ground and you get hit and you get hit and when they hit you, you go slightly off the ground. And then the frame that hit lag ends, so right before your knockback starts, the little ASDI kicks in and puts you here, and that's why you hit the ground off of an ASDI down. It's because they actually move you off the ground, but the ASDI pushes you back onto the ground within the one frame.
Okay, and this just so I'm sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna bring it all back around in a second.
Means that you are just holding your gray stick down. You're just holding.
That's it.
There's no timing input.
Yep, no timing at all. It's just that you're holding it down on the first frame after hit lag is done.
Right. Okay.
And so the only thing to do with the C stick here is that if you are holding a direction on the C stick, it will override your gray stick ASDI. And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to do something like, so if we have like gray stick, something like gray stick and then C stick, like on a controller.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I want to, like I'm doing like an up B wall ride, and then when they hit me, I want to ASDI towards the wall, but I also want a wall jump tech, which means I have to be holding up. This is just like a really common double stick situation.
Yeah.
So what I would do to make sure that I get the wall jump tech is I have to be holding up on the control stick. But if I'm holding up on the control stick, I obviously can't be SDIing into the stage. Let's say the stage is to the left of me, like FD's here, and I'm like wall riding up this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would do control stick up to get the wall jump tech here, and I would do C stick into the stage. And so what this will do is this gives me the wall jump tech if I get hit, and it'll also give me the ASDI towards the stage. Dude, somebody's going off messaging me right now. Sorry. Whatever.
Good.
Hopefully they stop. Okay, but essentially that is like the basics of how like the ASDI SDI thing works. And essentially there's like a bunch of different positions in the game where that becomes relevant, and you kind of just have to like memorize for those positions, but there aren't really that many. And actually there's like a bunch that you should memorize that I haven't memorized at all, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
But here's like a really, really common one, which is like, I don't know.
Mart's up air on platform?
Yeah, like Mart's up air or something. And we're not going to worry about all the crazy cases, but I'll explain it just really quick, just so you kind of have a feel for like what the complexity is, even though you don't have to like necessarily remember it. Okay. But essentially, the way to get out of these situations is you tech roll to the side. So this is you right here on the platform. And they hit you with like a vertical move. And so what you would do is here's control stick and C stick. The control stick, you do left, because you want to like DI the hit to the left. So if Marth hit you with this up air normally, you would go kind of like this, you know, like that, because it's like his up air hits you straight up and you're DIing to the side, to the left, so you would pop up at this angle. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And so it helps move you to the left, essentially. And then what you do with the C stick is you ASDI down with the C stick. And so what this lets you do is it lets you trajectory DI to the left while still ASDIing down. And so what essentially happens is the ASDI down triggers, say you touch the platform, but then because you're moving to the left because of the control stick DI, you will tap off the ground and slide off to the left. And that's like how the double stick slide off works.
Okay.
The small bit of complexity, and there's more to it that I just won't get into right now, but basically the only sort of complexity you kind of need to know is that right at the end of your tech roll, so like basically it's like a timing thing, right at the edge, right at the very end of your tech roll, you kind of slide off like this, just at the very end of it. And so if he up airs you here, if you ASDI down, there's no platform to land on. And so you won't be able to slide off here. And so the solution to that is that you continue to control stick to the left here, but you actually ASDI down and in a little bit. And what that does is that'll move you to just the edge of the platform here so that you slide off still.
It makes a lot more sense than it did going into it.
Okay, good. And yeah, and there's a bunch with this where they're like, oh, at 56%, you actually need to like hold your stick at this angle, and like, don't worry about that. I don't know any of that stuff either. It's okay.
Okay.
This is essentially all that I know that really goes through my head when I'm dealing with these situations.
Yeah, I think you've given me enough to like start messing with it and at least start getting a feel for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's just important to kind of get a feel for like this is what's going on, because beforehand it's all just like super messy, you know.
Right.
One last note on the SDI. When you SDI, you almost always want to SDI in a cardinal direction, so like left, right, up, or down exactly. So you don't really want to SDI most of the time at like, say, like a 45. And the reason for it is that, don't worry about it too much, okay? But essentially, if you go from a primary to off a primary, it registers when you go off of the primary as a second SDI input. And that's why you've heard quarter circle DI as like quarter circle SDI. You might have heard that. And all that is you press a cardinal, and then you literally just roll the control stick up or down, and you'll get 2 SDI inputs instead of 1. That's all you have to think of. Is just tap the cardinal, and then just roll up or down, or left or right off the cardinal, and you'll just get 2 SDI inputs instead of 1. And it just basically incredibly increases your odds of like hitting an SDI.
Okay, that explains the Wizrobe clip I saw once.
Yes, the Wizrobe clip exactly is he's using quarter circle DI.
Okay, real quick, if you hear my dog sounding like he's dying, he's not dying. His food is being prepared, and he freaks out.
No, your mic is good. I cannot hear your dog, but that's really funny.
Mic when he goes crazy. Yeah. Let me see if there's any other like major questions I wanted to get out. Also, is there anything that you feel like, anything on the top of your head that you feel like I should, like, what advice would you give yourself if you saw like another you, and he was about to start, learning Falco, learning Melee, and he wanted to get good, like,
Well, like, yeah, it's different because I picked up Falco like so late in my career.
Or not, honestly, not even Falco. Just like, how do I say? So, you're somebody who's gotten good at things, and I'm not. That's like the basic truth of it, right?
Okay.
So, if you saw yourself and you hadn't tried to get good at things yet, you've just been like having a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does this make any sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for like the conclusion of it.
Yeah. Just kind of in general, like, what would be like the biggest tip for improvement, mindset, or I don't know exactly what my question is.
Okay. All right, let's see. There's a few.
How do you actually get good at something, Fiction? That's my question.
Okay, let me think. So, the first one is that it's not on you. It's on your patterns. So, like, it doesn't mean you're like a bad person because you lost ever. It means that like you essentially, like, I try to describe the game to people as, like, I don't know if you ever watched, like, Gundam, stuff like that, like, mobile suit stuff. Essentially, they pilot, like, a giant robot. And I always say that, like, practicing and training and studying is building your robot. And then in tournament and, like, playing is, like, piloting the robot. And a lot of times, when people lose, they, like, attribute it to pilot error. That, like, I just didn't pilot, like, the ship I made or the suit I made, like, well enough or whatever. The trick is to just ignore pilot error. Focus everything on actually building the robot. So, like, when you lose, instead of being like, I dropped this combo and it's because I'm just bad deep down, It's like, it's not that. It's because you didn't practice this type of combo enough, and you're going to go home and practice it more, because it's the robot's fault. Like, it's the fact that you didn't practice well enough, and you didn't practice enough of the right things, or you haven't had enough time to practice. Those are the reasons you lose. Not because you're a loser who just chokes or something like that. That's not why. And I think that's like a big tough one for people.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Whatever time we do have left in this, I know
we have like 10 minutes.
Okay, so, how do I? Okay, I had you know who Traplord is?
Yes.
I played him. He was nice enough to play me, and I played his Falcon. And something, I think it was him. I played someone else that was also good. It might have been the other person. Anyways, something they said to me that stood out a lot was like, you got 7 openings on me, and I only had 30%. Like, that's unacceptable. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So I think where I need to be really is like hard focusing on combos outside of just like the
no
we kind of talked at.
Okay, see, so this is the issue, is that, like, it's so the problem is that when you're working on combos, there's 2 pieces of a combo. There's knowing what comes next, and there's executing what comes next. and you can't execute what comes next anyway yet. So like by practicing comboing, you're like overloading your brain because you have to practice fundamental tech skill while comboing, but also you need to be thinking about like their trajectory and what your follow-up is, you know, and it's too much info at once, which is why right now the fundamental tech skill is the only real important part. Whoever gave you that advice has probably been playing for a while, and they're mostly just seeing the result that like you're not hitting your combos. But like at the level you're at, it's not that like you don't know what comes next. It's that like you literally can't execute what comes next, even if you know. So it's essentially thinking too heavily right now. But like you can practice combos and you can think about combos and stuff. I'm not telling you not to. It's that like it's like biting by thinking of your practice as practicing combos. You're essentially biting off more than you can chew, and you could like overload your brain with info in a way where you're like, I did a ton of combos, but I don't really like feel like I learned all that much or whatever. Like that could happen in that case.
Okay. So I guess to end the lesson off, if we could, maybe we just play like one game and see if there's any last thoughts you have. Or do you think there's something else better we could do?
We could. I feel like us playing I feel like us playing would not have a ton of value right now.
Okay.
I think it's the most productive way would probably be if you just had any like, because I have like a bunch of general advice and like improvement and stuff in the game, and you were kind of asking that, but like if you could get a little bit more specific, I think going into that would probably be the most productive way to spend the last few minutes.
Okay. Let me look. I think I did have some specific things. Let me look real quick.
All right, there's another thing that's sort of good for general improvement, just in getting good in things in general, is you have to like make it your own thing. Like essentially when people are like learning things like I don't know, a lot of stuff. For instance, like somebody's like learning math. This was a big thing for me. I had trouble with math for a really long time, and it's because I always felt like math was like this other people thing that they were trying to like explain to silly old me. And I always felt like when I was trying to do something, I was like, is it right? Like, am I doing your thing right? You know? And I feel like that is like the mentality of somebody who's like not gonna get good at something. And but what the mentality really needs to be that like math is this like separate entity that like all these other people have like connected to this thing and like learned it, but they all look at it in their own way. Or like, you know, music, everybody looks at music in their own way. It's like a very personal thing to them. And so all these things that you're learning, it needs to have like, you need to feel like a personal connection to it, not that you're like learning other things. So like when you're like learning Falco or whatever, you should be looking at it as like, well, I'm just sitting here with a video game. What can I make happen with Falco? Rather than like trying to like follow advice too much or necessarily, or like play a game presented to you by other people. Taking advice is obviously good, but it's just important to have that sort of mentality that like Melee is like your game and you have a special way of learning it that's like special to you. And like just recognizing that like, I don't know, I think a lot of people have problems like with the opposite thing, or not the opposite, but like they have problems with this where like, I don't know, they like watch a bunch of tutorials and stuff like that, or like they try to like learn from a bunch of content, but they're never like if they don't understand a piece of content or they don't really understand a piece of advice, they'll just like kind of blame themselves for it or something like that, and be like, well, I just don't understand this thing that everybody else is totally getting. And I think that's like sort of meta, like the best way to get good at stuff is to not see yourself as doing somebody else's like medium or whatever. I don't know if that makes
really
sense.
Fascinating and made a lot of sense.
Okay, cool.
No, that was good. That was
Okay.
really good. It made a lot of sense.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was like,
okay. I mean, I think that's everything. I get really the main stuff was like I feel like my punish game is the worst part of everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense. Like, okay, let's not focus on punish game yet until we really, really have our character movement down. And like,
Yeah,
I think
because
you
like
gave me enough. When I go back and watch the VOD, there will be enough things. Like, I'm gonna go back through this VOD and look at everything that you gave as an example and be like, can I do this? Can I do it consistently? And I think that's where I am right now. I'm just gonna be
mm-hmm.
hard
Okay.
hard zoning into those.
And I have another idea,
Um,
really quick. I just sort of wanted to show like a really, really basic example, because this is like something where like, essentially like one of the most common combos I might get on Fox, and who knows, the CPU might DI in a way where I can't really get it. Actually, let me just turn his DI to no DI. Okay. So basically, so if I do a combo which is like late down air, nair, dash JC shine, no, let's see, down air, dash JC shine, up air, nair, down smash, or something like that. It's actually like this late down air shine that I practiced, you know, on the shield grab. And so that's that. And then like these wave shines that I practiced. So it's like down air shine, and then the wave shine. And now I'm in a position where it's down air shine again. And so, or like the dash JC shine. And so these are, like, the combos are actually made up of all of these small things. And I just wanted to sort of hammer that in, that like, if you're worried about your combo game, it's like, well, practicing this thing, and then, you know, the thing where, like, let's say you're right here, and Fox is right in the air after this one. The drill we did where we decided which side of Fox to land on is now suddenly relevant here, because do I want to land this one, or do I want to land, you know, the one that goes past it? And like, do I want to hit the back of Fox and cross him up, or do I want to hit this side of Fox and cross him up? And so all of that basic tech skill that you grind out is like literally the building blocks that will eventually make high level combos. And
that
just being good at the building blocks is actually just what happens. Like, if you get good at the building blocks, and then you do them pretty fast, you'll just start zero-deathing people occasionally.
I mean, that was the main thing that I wanted, was knowing where the building blocks. And that was the main idea, was getting building blocks, and I think you've pretty much given me that to go work on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was just the last thing. I just wanted to, like, hammer that in.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Okay, any extra closing thoughts or questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
awesome.
That's everything.
Well, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any like clips or questions in like the coming days or weeks or whatever. Feel free to hit me up and ask me. Not a problem at all. And just update me on how the progress is going and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. Sounds good, dude.
Thanks
I will talk to you later. Yeah, peace.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.